So let's try and figure out how we can delete a student or a customer in my case. But look at this. When I check out the AF core that I just showed you last lesson, there's a lot of ways we can remove student. We can call the context and just call remove right away and then throw in a generic information about what we want to delete and then the actual guy we want to delete. There are other ways to do it right here, and you can just check them all out if you want to. You can set the state, we'll get more into state later, and we can actually remove students on the table as well instead of the entire context. You see the difference here is, right here I'm not specifying what table to go to, but I'm instead specifying it in here in the remove function. I'm specifying what table to go to, where here it actually says go to this table and remove the student, or in our case it's going to be a customer. But let's just try and use the one that is not commented out right now and see if that works. So jumping into my code, I'm going to write context dot, and I'm going to say remove because that's what I wanted to do, and here I'm going to just pass in that I want to remove a customer, right? And then I'm going to add the customer I want to remove. Now it's actually fairly simple because all I need to specify is not the actual customer, I just need to specify the ID. So what I can do is actually I can make a new customer here like this and just add the ID like we did earlier when we kind of sent some JSON to the backend, if you guys remember that. So here I'll specify the ID that I want to remove. That's all I had to do. Now the next thing, we can just remove the parentheses there if we want to. Now the next thing I want to do is pretty much just say save changes, right? Save changes. There we go. And we're done. Now you'll notice one thing, because of the framework that we built, because of the framework update that's been made to the .NET Core, I don't even need to specify this anymore. So let's just get rid of that, because it actually from the type in here, it can say I need to remove a customer. And that's perfect. So in the end, what we'll do is we'll just return the customer that was removed. I think I can even grab the entity right here, like we did earlier with the create. I'll just make a local variable right here, and I'll call it cost removed just to explain that the customer was removed. And there we go, and just return that customer when we're done. So that's it. That should be all we had to do to kind of remove a customer. Look how simple this code actually is to remove a customer. Let's try and run the code again. And you'll also notice if we go to the old, while this starts, go to the old repository and we have the remove, it's pretty much the same thing we're doing right here. We have a small find the customer first and then remove him. We don't need that anymore. Now we can just remove it directly. But what query do we actually send? Well, let's just clean up right here and have a look at what the query we're sending when we're removing a customer. Jumping into Postman, just having a look that all customers exist. Cool. Let's do a delete. Let's delete customer 2 right here to see if we can even delete a customer. We don't want anything in the body. Let's get rid of that, and let's just send the delete. So we're actually getting an exception back. Let's try and have a look at what happens right here. Oh, of course, you cannot delete a customer who has an order. That makes sense, right? Because if we delete the customer, the order won't have the foreign key for that customer anymore, and that's a relation violation, right? So that's not allowed inside the SQL. Now we need to fix this later. We need to be sure that when we try to delete a customer, somebody will tell us it's not possible, or maybe we'll remove all the orders first and then the customer. We have to take care of this because we cannot, in an SQL database, remove a customer who has a foreign key to an order that needs that customer. Does that make sense? So it's not allowed. But what we can do is just to make sure that we can actually delete if that is not the case, let's just create a customer right here. So I'll post a customer, and let's just put in a body right here and just create this guy. Now this guy doesn't have any orders, so he shouldn't be okay to delete him. Let's try and delete this customer, which is now customer 3, and send this again. Customer 3 is deleted. Let's try and get the customers again just to see that he is actually gone from the database. There we go. So the delete actually works. It just informs us that you're not allowed to delete a customer who has orders in the database because we have a relation between those two.